Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Chip Baker of Chip Baker, the Success Chronicles, and I'm pretty excited about this group of people that we have on. This is a group of the authors from The Path for Coaches, Volume 4, Communication. And so it's just some great people doing great things, just sharing their gems about communication. I'm excited to have these authors on to highlight them. And so what I want to do is just kind of go around and just let them give you some information about them. We're going to talk about the writing process, and then just, get your notepad ready because we're going to give you some gems too, that hopefully you can help using what you do to impact, which is what we want to do, and to help you with your path as a coach. So first, I want to say, people don't have to say yes to you to support you. And so, man, I'm just grateful for every one of these authors, coaches, for saying yes to be a part of the project. And man, we're just going to have a great time learning and growing together, and learning and growing with one another, and learning each other. So let's dive into it. Coach Jacinto, we'll start with you first, and just tell us a little bit about, who you are and your journey, so the audience will have an idea.
Okay, well, thank you for for this, be able to participate in this endeavor with you. We did this one the first time earlier with the fourth volume on your first group of books, and just being able to do this again. It's a great honor to get able to reach out to people, and being able to reach out and so they can disperse some knowledge, and hopefully you can gain knowledge. Because when I read the books of the other authors that collaborate, I learn a lot from them as well. But that I also see there's a lot of similarities in our journeys, not so much in our journeys, but how we interpret them and how we perceive them. And there's a lot of similarities in how we communicate it as well. But also there's also differences in the way they communicate it. But it means the same way, but just in different. They just put it in a different way. But then there's also a lot of similarities on how to put it. I'll put it the same way as well. Currently, I'm a retired athletic administrator, coach, and educator. And I was in the business for over 37 years, 27 as a coach, and 10 as an athletic administrator. Now been 2.5 years now retired. When I retired, I was an athletic director of Spring ISD, which is outside of Houston. If you don't know where that's at, it's north of Houston, in between the Woodlands and Aldine, right around 45. Before that, I was the head football coach at Travis High School in Austin ISD for 5 years. And then before that, my first 21 years, I was started at the middle school level in my hometown of Waco, Texas. And started middle school level, University Middle School, and worked up through the ranks, and wound up became an assistant. When I left there, I was this assistant head coach, defensive coordinator, off-season coordinator, middle school liaison. I just realized that learning from other people, that to be diverse, and that opens up opportunities for you. Currently in my retirement, I'm doing these books with Chip. I'm also visit staffs, coaching staffs, and disperse knowledge to help them become better coaches, and hopefully they can they get to the path where they want to go with, in a more rapid pace than I did. But also learning along the way, and also I'm still putting words for coaches who are aspiring to move up the ladder, and making calls for them, and mentoring them as well. And then also I do some training with athletes. So that's currently what I'm doing right now, and enjoying time with my wife, who's also a retired former coach and educator as well, and spending time with our kids, and they're grown, but we get to be more involved in their life. But they don't want us too much involved because it's a fine line. So we try to make sure that we're just there to guide. We want to just hopefully we prepare them for the path and not pave the path for them because there's going to be obstacles. They got to learn how to get around. But we're there to serve as a guide for them and for all people that we come across, that we coach, things like that. But it's an honor to be here and meet some new people again today.
Yes, sir. And I want to share a little bit, Coach, about like our journey. And, like Coach Jacinto said, his before he retired, he was the athletic director in Spring ISD, and that's where we connected. I'm a board member of FCA North Houston, and so got connected through that way with Coach. And man, we just really hit it off, and we had some great conversations about coaching, faith, uh, mentoring, pouring into, and we've always talked about like, man, where we are in the state of education, man, coaches really need help with their path. And that's kind of how this book series came about, through that conversation. And so the first one we did was mentoring, then we did emotional intelligence, and volume 3 was self-awareness, and then now we're on volume 4, which is communication. And just like Coach said, man, we are hoping to help those coaches with their path. Anything on that, Coach Jacinto, you want to add on?
No, I will add more on to it when you address those other questions. But Chip was right. When we first met through a mutual colleague and friend of ours, we had a mutual friend and colleague. Is that we, like I said earlier, we were just in a similar, we like Coach Chip said, we hit it off. We saw a lot of we had the same beliefs and the same thing. We said some of the same things similar, but we also said some things differently, but we still meant the same thing. So that was kind of how Chip really involved me. A mutual friend brought us together, and he saw how we vibe together, and he just I have to commend him because he brought me into writing, collaborating with him and all of you guys with his books. And you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know the impact, not just that you have on them, but what they have on you. And just as an aside, last week I did a podcast at an elementary, intermediate school. My wife does some after school tutoring with, and they did a podcast, and they asked me some questions, kind of what we're doing here about my path and just, all my experiences. And as I come to find out, it's 4 people on it's 5th and 6th graders on that podcast. And 2 of the young ladies who were doing it, I coached their dads. And
Wow.
it was just, a kind of like a real moment, as they say. And, it's just, they wanted to know about their dad, how their dads, how they were being coached. And, and I told them, whatever they tell you, they're telling the truth. And if you want some verification, just call me and I will let you know. But I said, whatever they told you the truth. And that's
That's
just a
awesome.
real moment, to coach their dads like it was like 20 something years ago, 25 years ago. And they're coming around now doing a podcast with their kids, and they had kind of the same goals, and it was just a surreal moment. So you never know the impact that you have on people, and also the impact you have on you.
That's so good. Thanks for sharing that, Coach. Coach Barnes, Brian Barnes, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, Coach.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'm coming up on 30 years in education and athletics, and I know you guys can't believe that because obviously I'm the youngest looking one of the group, but that's that's reality. And 11 years a head coach, and now I'm in a role as an athletic director, taking a little break from coaching, but I'm excited to be a part of this. And what we can offer coaches, and honestly, what coaches can offer us, like what we can all offer each other. Like I'm always big on growth. I'm always big on learning more and new ideas and connecting. And so, like, we're far from perfect, and we're always, finding ways to get better. And I love the opportunity, and I love what we're offering to coaches in your series, Chip, and especially about communicating and how important that is, especially nowadays in our society, because I kind of feel like, I'm going to sound like a boomer, but I kind of feel like communicating is a lot more challenging nowadays than it's ever been, especially for coaches, right? Especially with anybody that works with kids. And there's such a dynamic there with, kids and this group in particular have been through so much growing up, and, how we can get the best out of them and help them reach their ceiling as a person, as an athlete, and as and as a student. And that's ultimately what should our goal, everybody's goal should be as a coach. And so it's an honor to work with you guys and have an opportunity again to do this. And I'm pretty fired up for it.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. All right, Coach Chatman, Coach Dequan Chatman, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm pretty young in the game. I'm old enough to know what I'm doing. But, people still think I'm young enough, so I get away with people thinking I don't know what I'm doing. So that's a blessing. It's that sneak attack that I can do.
There you go.
But I've been fortunate enough to come on board learning about this process and this book, and you, Chip, maybe about a year ago. A colleague of mine, Randy Bermea, he coaches and teaches in the district, Rockwall ISD, the same district I teach in and coach in. And it's been a pretty fun ride. I had a lot of different opportunities over the years, even through before it came to football. I was in the military. I did 8 years, was able to travel the world, learn about different types of communication when it comes to people, and even communication without even speaking. So I have a different outlook on things. Yes, I'm trying to gain a whole lot more experience, and learning from you guys has been a great journey so far, and I can only imagine where it's going to go in the future.
It's good stuff. Well, Coach, man, thank you so much for your service. Appreciate you, and so glad that you're in the profession.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, Adrian Jackson.
What's going on, Chip?
Hey.
How are you, man? Hey, welcome. One is I appreciate the invite, to be a part of this amazing series, Pathway to Coaches. And thank you for also introducing me to your colleagues here. I look forward to getting to know them and, take this ride with another group.
Yes, sir.
Another group. And so it's been an amazing community. I'm Adrian Jackson. I'm Associate Executive Director at Cal Farley Sports Ranch. I've been here for 29 years. I am not a coach. I am a former collegiate athlete. I guess one of my claims to fame, I'm in the Hall of Fame at Oklahoma Panhandle State University for basketball, straight out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. And so very powerful book series. We've watched this athletic world just morph in front of us. And I know there's a lot of opinions about it, some good, some bad. It's different. It's different from my experience. There's things that I deeply appreciate being an athlete in the 90s. That can't ever change. I actually, the competition and the coaching and all that, like the music of the 90s was just amazing. We're going to argue that all day long, but we're going to say that's the best era, right? However, I have watched my kids' experience in athletics is vastly different from mine. And that doesn't make one better than the other. But this opportunity to be part of the series, I got to explore that just for a bit. And, I come from a basketball family. However, basketball was a means to get our college degree. And so it was game on for us. And because my parents, that's what their expectation was. My sister said it best the other day. She said college was not a choice. It was part of the path. It wasn't like we had an option out. I never thought anything other than going to college and playing a sport, getting my college degree. Like I had no other thoughts of what that part of my life was going to be like. And therefore I did it. And coaches was a big part of that. But the communication part, I actually talk about, I only had 3 coaches my entire high school, junior college, and university experience. I've only had 3 coaches. And so that's an amazing anomaly in itself today. And so what I got from those 3 coaches, I wrote about. One coach, he created this monster on the court. That's my high school coach, Coach Wilkins. I wrote a little bit about Coach Wilkins. He was flashy, but he created this monster, right? My junior college coach, he did something that was hard. He had to let half the team go in the middle of the season. So I learned some integrity and ethics from what he had to do, right? He sacrificed wins in one of the toughest JUCO conferences here in West Texas with Howard and South Plains and Midland and Odessa. He gave up wins for doing the right thing. Hey, that was an amazing message, right? And then I was getting married right when I signed to go play at Panama State. And my coach there, he talked about his family. And here I am, 19 years old, going to have my family. And I connected there. Because I connected there, and man, I played my heart out for Coach Todd. And so we connected at that message. So I wrote on those points. It's when you communicate, are you communicating ethics? Are you communicating personal, professional development? Are you connecting because you got a shared goal? Me and Coach Todd, we had a shared goal. He needed me to play hard and act right on campus so he could take care of his family. I needed him to give me a big scholarship so I could take care of my family.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so, so I wrote about, I never forgot that. Like I never, ever forgot that. And I talk about some of the easiest transitions in my life was at Panama State because I was transitioning from JUCO to university. I had to make sacrifices of my degree plan. I wanted to be a petroleum engineer. They did not have that there. I had to decide whether I wanted to keep playing athletics, go to another school. So, and then I was getting married, had a little girl. So, having that safe landing spot with a shared goal of my coach that I was able to finish my degree plan, which was the ultimate goal. Hey, that was important to me. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today if he didn't do what he was going to do, say he was going to do, and I didn't do what I said I was going to do. We both did what we said we were going to do. And so that communication, so it's not in what they said, it's the message they delivered is what I wrote about.
So good. Well, Myron Sims, let's go to you, brother. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, what's going on, Chip? Y'all doing all right?
Doing great, man.
Thanks for having me. So I don't have any coaching experience either, unless you count AAU and video game coaching. I've done my fair share of video game coaching, but just my experience, man. Born and raised here in Amarillo. Graduated from West Texas A&M University. Chip and I spent some time in college together. We met back in 1990, 97, 96, somewhere around there, and we've been friends ever since. So just having this opportunity to be a part of a second book with you, Chip, is important. And my guy Adrian Jackson, work experience. I worked for Adrian out at Boys Ranch for about 10 years. I was the director of behavior intervention out there for a while. So most of my experience has been working with at-risk youth, working with families, things like that. So I guess I've done some coaching in that respect. So just always trying to make sure I'm pouring into people, man, and moving them up the ladder while I'm trying to move up the ladder as well. So currently I am the Community and Economic Development Extension Agent for Prairie View A&M University. I've been in this role for about 6 months. Left Boys Ranch back in 2021, and I've been trying to find my way ever since. So, but I think I've landed somewhere that's going to work out pretty good for me. So I'm excited about the book. I'm excited, to meet everybody and just do a little bit of promoting and marketing of myself and you guys, man, and get this great word out.
So good. Well, as you can see, audience, man, just some amazing men that's doing some great things. And so, I believe that sports is life, right? And so everything is coaching, being a part of a team, learning, right? And so all of the experiences that we have, I think, is great experiences. And I truly believe that the gems that we're going to drop today and the gems that they will get in the book will be a blessing for so many. And so, again, just thank you guys so much for saying yes, for being a part of the project. But I just want to kind of go around the horn now and just ask each of you guys, how has the writing process been for you? And we'll start with you, Coach Jacinto.
Well, it's just with this topic, we discussed the topic we want to include with this series, and this one is just and everybody kind of touched on it when they were talking about themselves and talking about their experience and what brought them to where we are today. Is that everybody had to communicate either to communicate we ought to communicate, or somebody communicated to us what they saw in us and also what we want to be. Because like the coach that just spoke, he talked about transitioning from what Boys Ranch now going to Prairie View A&M, and then the coach before that, I mean, not the coach, but he talked about he had to make a decision on does he still want to follow his path in his educational, or did he want to still continue to be athletic? And and the coaches had communicated to him, something hard had to be accomplished, or there's a transition there. And then the coach that was in that was in the military, he's transitioning from the military. So there's communication there, whether we're talking to ourselves or we're seeking guidance, or people just giving us what they felt is needed to help us guide us in our path. And I took that as what and in my experiences, we always have to communicate, to the people that you work with, people that work with you, people that, I don't like saying this, I always say work with you. I don't like people work with us. Nobody works for me. We work with each other. Now I will say I'll work for somebody else, but when in the leadership position, I just think going from when I was in the leadership position, I always want somebody that's going to work with me. And then if you have that type of philosophy, I think it's easier to deal with the issues that you're going to hurt and concern when you're dealing with in any realm and in any where we all come from. Just like the first coach he talked about, he was a coach and then he transitioned to athletic director now. So those those things have to be communicated, as far as you communicate to your family when you're making a career change. And also transition in, because it's not just transition your career, you also transition maybe movement. I think everybody had to move from one place to the other. I know I did. I think everybody here did. So it's just so, like I discussed earlier, how familiar. We all have similar paths, but we all had transitions. I know that one coach said he only had 4 coaches. I was saying he had 3, only had 4. Junior high coach, high school, and really 3. I had 2 in middle school, because 7th and 8th grade. Then I had 1 in high school and 1 in junior college. So, and I think that leads to some stability. But also, you also can learn different things from each one. Good and bad. Not to say bad things, but not to do like the young man that was in the military. He talked about he knows what to do but he also knows what not to do. I think that's more important than learning what to do. It's like we're learning what not to do. And that's what I learned a lot from working with and learning from different coaches. Things not so much not that you're not going to do it that way, but you're going to make maybe some modifications in how you're going to deal with different issues and concerns. And it's funny, we talked about community. I'm gonna live with this so we can move on. But when I was going to graduate from high school and going to college to go play ball, I was gonna get in business. That was gonna be my major. I don't know why. We don't have family. I think my family has a lot to do. It has their own business. I'm gonna take it over. Nothing like that. My high school basketball coach asked me. He said, "What was I going to major?" I said, "Business." I had no reason why. I just said business. And he said, "You know what?" He said, "You're a great leader. You need to be a coach." And I had coaches in my family. My uncle and my grandfather were coaches, and my aunt was educators and things like that. I never thought about that. When he told me that, that's when I decided I'm gonna be a coach. And I've never, since high school, I've not seen him since. I don't even know if he's alive.
Oh, wow.
But if I ever get to talk to him, I haven't found him. I don't know if he's even alive. Either way, I'll be indebted to him because without that, I'm telling him, I know I probably would have been. I know I wouldn't be a bum, but I don't think I would have done what I've achieved up to this point because of him he communicating to me what's going to be my path. And that kind of built my philosophy, which I got later on in coaching, which I got from Eric Parsegian, which is, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, a great coach, and I'm paraphrasing it. Y'all help me out if you know, but paraphrasing that, a great coach, what makes a great coach is knowing what his players can be instead of what they will be instead of what they are. And he saw what I was going to be instead of what I am. And I'll just take that as a philosophy that I do with all people that I deal with. But that's kind of where I came with as far as giving me a topic to write about dealing with communication.
Awesome. Awesome. Coach Barnes, how has the writing process been for you?
It's been great. I mentioned in my intro, I talked about how like communicating nowadays in our society is a challenge for a lot of people, right? I think, a lot of kids especially, but adults too, they'd rather just shoot a text or, send a Snapchat or whatever it is, that they do instead of, actually picking up the phone and talking to people. And so, my focus is on the phrase, say what you mean and mean what you say. And I think one of the issues I had as a younger coach was, I never wanted to offend anybody. And I wanted to make sure I said the right thing. And if I wasn't correct and 100% sure about what I was saying, I kind of, danced around it a little bit to sound smart. And people see right through that, especially your players. And so as I've gotten older, I've made it a point to make sure I'm going to be transparent and be honest and, not necessarily critical and hurtful, but I'm going to give our players especially an honest assessment of what I'm thinking, because again, we're so afraid nowadays to have any type of even positive conflict with anybody, adults, kids, and have those conversations. But that's where a lot of the growth, happens, right? When you're able to get an honest assessment of yourself and your abilities, you're doing that because you care about somebody and you want them to become better. And ultimately too, like that's something you should do with yourself as well. Like, when you can do some self-reflection and be critical and be honest with yourself, or have somebody else tell you what are some things you could potentially work on, like that's how you grow. And so my focus was on that aspect of it for us coaches, is just making sure we are being honest with our athletes and our assistant coaches and parents, and what the expectations are, with what the standards are, and what you want from the athletes every day at practice and in games, off the field, in the classroom. Everything, every little thing of that matters. And so that's been my mission with this chapter for me, Chip, is making sure, like, be brave and have that honest assessment and recognize that it's not, like, you're not being mean, you're not being critical when you're being honest and transparent with the kids that you're working with.
So true, Coach. That's some good gems right there. Coach Chatman, how's the writing process been for you?
Yes, sir. So at first it started off, of course, I wanted to talk about my journey and how I got to this point. Spoke about a couple coaches, and then I said, nah, I'm scratching it. I took on a new journey. I started coaching girls, high school flag football, which was different. All right. It was totally different. Like, I can't talk to them girls the same way I talk to my boys. I can't talk to them the same way, you
Communication.
know. I speak to them a different type of way, and it's just like, you know, like I treat my own daughter. You know, it's like, okay, well, I want to be able to get this past as a UIL sport. So I spoke about some different things there. But then I also dipped back into some lessons I learned over the years where I would learn the person. You know, I have to go deeper into understanding who that person is and how I can get through to them. So I started to talk about differences in between how I speak to, a Randy or a Mike versus a Jamal or a Dante. You know, it's a different type of conversation for a different type of kid. And the process, you know, at first it was all over the place. I had different chapters set up, the different types of ways I had it set up. And I was like, you know what, let me just write from the heart. And it ended up turning out beautifully. A lot of the different examples that I put in there would fire up some coaches that may need firing up. You know, I believe in when I go out there, yes, you do need to. I agree with the coach, Coach Brian as well. You know, you have to know what you're talking about. And I feel like the kid of this generation, you know, that Johnny that you talk to of this generation, they give you about 3 chances before they move on away from you. They go learn from YouTube or something, you know. So it's very, you know, refreshing to be able to put it all down on paper, you know, put my thoughts down and hopefully be able to inspire another coach, you know, fire them up, get them ready. So
Let's go,
I'm
man.
excited.
So good. All right, Adrian Jackson, how has the writing process been for you, brother?
You know, I really mulled over what I wanted to write about here because there's just you could wrote a I could have wrote a whole book on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because there's I'm not an athletic coach, but I coach up adults every day, and that was one avenue that I considered is that, but I wanted to stay true to the intentions of the book series. So I did bring it back to my athletic experience because I wanted to stay true to that and not get into how I coach up employees, which is the same. And also too, I had some pretty amazing coaches. Right. And so this gave me an opportunity to, like I mentioned in the other Impact the Influence, volume 8, 9, and 10, that I had an opportunity to talk about and give people their roses publicly and in writing where it never can be taken away of how I felt about them and what they have contributed to my life. And so here's was another opportunity to do that for the 3 coaches I that was near and dear to me. The difference, I had really good parents. I had my skill set was developed by my brothers and sisters. My mentoring. So I didn't go to the gym to look for mentoring. I didn't go to the gym to be a better basketball player. I went to get coached so I can play. And that's a different experience sometimes than, say, my neighbor, right? Who didn't have what the resources I had, who may not have had a meal that night, who may not have, parents might have been fussing and fighting all night long, may needed a mentor, may needed a father figure, may needed someone to show them how to have proper hygiene. So growing up in the projects, when everybody, I think Coach Chapman said it, like everybody needed something different from the coach. And I do appreciate the coaches giving me what I needed, right? They didn't make an attempt to give me something that I didn't need or want.
Yeah.
And so having that analysis of your players and the kids that are around you, I think is important. I didn't know if they intentionally or unintentional, but I think what this book series is speaking to is intentionally doing things. Like, don't let it happen by chance or happenstance, right? Put an action plan in play. Grab those pearls and jewels and create these amazing people that come to you with all different backgrounds and experiences, and be able to have the courage to change and be something for your athletes. And I think today that's more important because we didn't want to pack up and leave, right? Hey, but that is not the culture today, right? Right? They'll pack up and leave, right? But have the courage to say, hey, I'm rocking with you and you rocking with me. And I had coaches like that, right? I had coaches. My high school coach came to the middle school and said, you're going to play for me in high school when I was in 6th grade, and had me working out with the 8th graders. Now, when a guy invests that kind of time and energy in you with all these amazing athletes in Lake Charles, Louisiana, amazing basketball players, then that's a commitment that I turn around and made to him, right? Because he made a commitment to me, I made a commitment to him. Those are kind of messages, though, that coaches around the world intentionally to make. And sometimes really successful coaches forget that, right? Really successful one. My high school coach was extremely successful. He did not have to do that. He was really successful. There were players wanting to play for him all throughout the city. And so, you know, I never forgot that. I never forgot that. When we would play pickup games against Joe Dumars and all that when we were kids, guess who circled by the gym, by the outdoor courts? My high school coach, or my soon-to-be high school coach, right? Mm-hmm. And so didn't have to do that, right? So before I even played a minute for him, I was already committed.
That's good. That's good. I love that. All right, Myron, how was the writing process for you?
Y'all keep having me following after Adrian.
I need to switch it up. Huh?
I don't like doing that, man, because he go all the way in there with it, and then I'm like, I'm hovering in the 3-foot end. But for me, man, I mean, as cliche-ish as it sounds, it was a spiritual process for me, man. I'm a procrastinator by nature, so I waited until the last minute. But in that process, man, I learned so much and just listened to, because what I found out, you can't write about communication if you're not putting the best of what you have to say in the book, right? So I really wanted to take my time and say something that I felt was profound. So I got to thinking, that's how we should be talking and communicating with everybody, right? We do a whole lot of surface level communication. I mean, we're talking about LeBron is the GOAT, you know, the Lakers, the Cowboys. Like, we do a lot of that, right? And there's not a thing wrong with it. But I think we miss some opportunities. Or we do so much of that when we do say something, it gets watered down, it gets mixed up. So trying to make sure that we are speaking the most powerful things we can to folk. And so that's what I tried to write about. I went to the Word and found some examples from my dad, because that's him. He is an essential communicator. He gonna speak something, right? Whether you ask for it or not. So that's kind of what I tried to do, man. I just tried to just really speak from the heart and just speak to what I felt was the issue within communication. We need to be speaking more life. We can be lifesavers and life changers. So whether you're coaching, whether you're teaching, whatever you're doing, whatever walk of life, whatever career you have an opportunity to speak life. And I would just encourage everybody to do more of that versus you still have time to do the other stuff, right? But man, we miss a lot of opportunities to speak into somebody. So just looking forward to when I get my edits back, seeing if there's anything I can, how it really sounds. Because last minute I didn't get to really proof it like I did. I just poured, and I felt like it was spirit led. But even something spirit led could probably have some mistakes in it. So I'll be ready to do some tweaking whenever that time comes.
And I'm sure it's gonna be great, brother. Like you said, I wholeheartedly believe that it's good. I set you up. When you come from the heart, man, you're in the right place, right? None of us are perfect. We're gonna make mistakes, but I think that when you come from the heart, man, that's the right posture,
Right.
and everything else works from there. So I'm gonna throw a curveball. Since you said you've been going after Adrian, so I'm gonna flip it right back to you, Myron.
Oh,
and, and then we're gonna go in reverse order. And then,
okay.
so the question I have for you guys is, what's one thing that you would like to convey to coaches or leaders, if you will, about communication to help them with their path? And Myron, we'll go right back to you.
Oh man, I think knowing that there's a higher calling to wherever you are, whatever it is you're doing, that's not the reason you're there. There's a higher purpose, higher reason for you being there. So you may be a coach of eighth graders, but that ain't your calling, right? Your calling is above that, right? You gotta speak and walk and communicate with people above that, right? If you're a coach, that coach speak, that's gonna come natural to you. But what we have to work on is being intentional about that higher calling, that higher level of communication, that essential communication, where you're not just teaching somebody running routes, you're teaching them, trying to keep them alive, right? So just understanding and knowing that there's way more to it than you just being a coach. Way more to it. And we've learned that teachers are having to parent, you're taking kids home, you're picking kids up, you're doing all the things outside of coaching. So we know it, but I think sometimes we still, like in this day and age, everything is so muddied and watered down. You got to navigate through that and really be intentional about taking it to that higher level, that higher calling that I believe God has called everybody to. It's not just your job, it's what is your calling? What's your real purpose for being there at such a time as this? So making sure we're just all paying attention to that piece of it, that it's more to it. It's more to it than just the game. It's more to it than just the routes and the plays and the winning and the losing. You got a hefty job ahead of you that has nothing to do with the coaching.
That's good, man. I like that. A higher calling. All right, Adrian, what about you? One thing you like to
Well,
convey to,
Myron
to
returned the
leaders?
favor. I can tell you that much. He returned. Hey, now you see why that's my road dog, right? Um,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So one is I couldn't have said it any better, Myron. Man, that's been my experience as a player, and that's my experience as a leader. Is you actually are setting a tone for the next generation to get life breathed into them when you could do that for someone, right? And one of the things I was attempting to convey, and I hope that the chapter did that, is when I tell the story about Coach Montragon kicking those players off, and it left us with 9 players. And the message right before conference play, and we had a long shot anyway, being all freshmen. And what ended up happening was because my high school had a culture of winning and this culture of how we prepared. And then I get to junior college and it's nothing like that, right? It doesn't have the same culture. And so I wasn't comfortable in that locker room. But when those players got kicked off, that locker room got more cohesive. And that locker room came together. And we were in some dogfights with teams that were a lot better than us. And they beat us because we got tired. They didn't beat us because they were better. They beat us is we just didn't have enough players. And we were playing too many minutes. And finally, it would catch up with us in the last 2 or 3 minutes. And then what happened was all of us came back. I had an opportunity to go to Southwest Texas. And because of that locker room was developing a cohesive culture, right? It wasn't a winning culture yet. It was a cohesive culture. I came back. So did the other players came back. And we posted the next year the most winningest record Clarendon College had up to that point. We revenged all our losses. And that culture of cohesiveness turned into a culture of winning. And when you look at Clarendon College now, they have a culture of winning now. And I believe it started when Coach Mon made that decision, right? And so, your communication, your messages, the things that you do, the message that you send out, your intentionality develops your locker room culture. And that doesn't always equate to winning or losing. It does equate to how people feel your moral codes are. And that's important.
It's good. I love it. All right, Coach Chatman, what's one thing you want to convey to the leaders, coaches about communication to help them with their path?
Well, now I got to go behind Mr. Jackson, though.
There's a gentleman that is one of the Go Get It brothers. Mr. Darius Bradley. I don't like going behind him either.
All right, so what I want to convey to other coaches out there that may pick up this book is, don't give up. You have these young, bright minds, and it may be a crazy puzzle to try to solve when it comes to communicating effectively with them. Every day, get up and try. Don't give up on them. It's always going to be a way to get through to them. You just got to find that way. That's the biggest thing I want you to take from this as you reading this book. For me, I probably was a knucklehead as a youngster, not understanding, thinking that I'm, too big for my britches, as you might say, but for me, it wasn't a father, it wasn't an uncle, it was a coach that got through to me, and then multiple coaches at the next level that got through to me and was able to see something that I was missing, helped me realize I was bigger than what I was putting out there. I had to straighten up, get on that straight path. And a coach did that for me. And growing up similar, from Richmond, Virginia, we didn't communicate effectively at all, unless it was, you talking to me, you stepped on my shoe, and you took my girl or whatever. That's how we were, and we was ready to fight behind that. And that's all I knew going into college playing football. Okay, well, I can back it up with my hands, but that's not communicating at all. It's what you can communicate effectively coming out of your mouth, and those coaches saved me, and I want to be able to motivate other coaches in this chapter. Just being able to, get them on fire about it. Don't give up. Don't give up. You can change that kid's whole life trajectory based off of some words that you say to him, and putting him on the right path to success.
So good, Coach. Great words. I think we all need to hear that. That's good. All right, Coach Barnes.
Yeah, so in my opinion, the best coaches are also great teachers. Whether or not they're certified or not, that really doesn't matter. Like, it's communicating to me is nothing but teaching what we want. What do we want our players to know, right? And how do we do that? And so I think sometimes as coaches of any sport, they get into this falsehood where, like, especially men though, right, where you got to be tough, and then ultimately we raise our voice and we yell, and, like, to me that's not communicating and that's not teaching. And so that is something that I stress. If you're going to yell, then maybe you might be in the wrong profession. Make sure you're teaching it first. And I think one of the coaches, when you guys mentioned it earlier, talked a little bit about getting the best out of our players and our athletes, right? Well, optimism is a competitive advantage, and I don't think anybody was put here to be average. And the opportunity and the ability to try to inspire our players to get the best out of their ability is extremely powerful. And I don't think that's something any coach should take lightly. I think they should. There are times it is challenging and it can be tough and difficult, but man, is it worth it when we're able to reach a kid and then years later they're going to come back and say, thank you for believing in me and believing what I could do. There's nothing like it, and there's nothing more gratifying in this life.
It's good. That's some gems right there, Coach. Coach Jacinto, what's something you want to convey to coaches and leaders about communication?
First, I'm going to kind of like sum up what everybody said, what they want to give. This is what I got from them. They might not, what I say is not what they said, but this is what I got from Coach Barnes. I do it from last to first. I got from him is building relationships. Build a relationship, then you can coach them how they need to be coached. When you got to coach them hard, you got to coach them soft, pat them on the back, kick them in the butt, not literally. Because back in the day, do that, but nowadays you can't do that. Because you're talking about being politically correct. From Coach Barnes, I talked about, well, not Coach, that's Coach Barnes, that's from Coach Chapman, about being resilient and finding other ways, exercising all ways in order to get across what you're trying to convey to the people that you're coaching or you oversee, that you lead. Jackson talking about life lessons. They learned a life lesson of integrity from their coach when he had to cut everybody, and that also that him being a man of integrity built a culture with their team that still lasts today. And it all started from him having to make, he could, like, I'm going to take wins or do the right thing. And then from Coach Sims, know your why. Why are you doing this? Because when you know your why, you know exactly what your ceiling is going to be. And those things I learned not when I first started. It took time. It took time because it's an evolving process and going back to having a growth mindset. But what I want people to understand, what I want people to get from my part is that I've always asked questions. I believe in being over communicated, because when you do that, you clarify, you communicate the message, and it takes away a lot of indecisions. Because when I take this quote from John Gordon, when there's a lack of communication, negativity fills that void. It's going to fill that void. Because y'all have all been under people. When you reach out to somebody, whether it's your friend, your boss, whoever, your spouse, and they don't give you an answer, nothing. They don't say, "Okay, I got it. I didn't understand." What do you say? All you gotta do is tell me yes, no. You don't have to write no darn paragraph. Just respond to me. Because what's the first thing you're gonna do with people? What I do with my boss when I would, we didn't have text message back then. When you call them, when they don't call you back, he ain't that darn busy. Come on, he ain't that busy. All you gotta do is tell me yes or no. That's all you gotta tell me. That's all I need to know. So that's one thing that I took with me when I was in the leadership position, because that's what I wanted out of my bosses, and I told them that. And then also the last thing is to make sure, everybody talked about the communication, is to make sure that what you're communicating is understood. I've learned that from experience. Yeah, you're saying it and you know what you mean, but you got to make sure they know what you mean, because perception is reality. So that's what I learned from experience too. And they say, "You got it." What does everybody say? "I got it, coach. Yeah, I got it. I got it." And then here it comes, and I thought you got it. Well, this is what I thought you meant. Well, no, this is what I meant. It's not on the person who's receiving the message. It's the person giving the message. Make sure that the message is understood, and that's coming from experience. So that's what I take from. That's what I want people to understand. Them over communicate and make sure that the message is understood, and that clarifies that clarifies and causes keeps a lot resolves a lot of things and keeps a lot of issues that won't come up. You're still gonna have issues, but you'll have less issues over.
That's good, Coach. And Coach, I want to tell you, I'm appreciative of you setting an example with what you just did. So, Coach Jacinto, what he did was he went through, and just from this situation, he took some notes on what he heard and what he learned just in this situation. And this is prime example of what we're striving for coaches and leaders to do with the book, right? Like there's so many things, so many gems, so many people with great experience. I mean, this is just an average here. I think we have like 150 years, almost 200 years of experience on this call. Right? So like on this interview, like it's like that many years of experience just here, and that's not even the other authors that's in the book. And so I just think, and as you can see, it's just some great gems, great people doing some great things. I think we can all learn from it. So thanks for being an example on that, Coach. That's awesome. So what I want to do as we close, I love for each person to just go through and just share your social media, because I asked you, audience, like, you heard their journeys, you heard their stories, you heard the gems they dropped. I asked that you would just go and check out each of these authors, like go to their pages, get their information, check them out, go follow them. And then also I asked, they're going to have links on their social media. I asked that you would go to their sites and, pre-sale, purchase those books from them so you can get signed copies from them and show them some love. So we'll just flip it right back to you, Coach Jacinto. Just share with them your socials, and then we'll just pass it on through.
Okay, and you guys that are on podcast today, I appreciate you would follow me. So then there are things that I still send out, that not that I come up with, that I read, that I think are very beneficial, that I send to all people that I mentored, big coaches that coach for me, coach with me, to help them, in their endeavor. So hopefully you follow that, and I will send those things out to you that I think are just reference points to help you in your career path and also with your daily life. But my Facebook is just Armando Jacinto. My X account is @ajacinto3. My email address is adjacinto00@gmail.com. And it was a pleasure listening to you guys. I took a lot from you, and I hope that you have, your future endeavors, you have this as a lot of success.
Hey, Coach Jacinto, I want to share this story as we go, and I'm going to jump in right quick. And I don't know if I even told you this before, but I was at just talking about the influence and helping each other with the path. So, when you were in spring, there's lots of great coaches and athletes that came through that are doing some amazing things. And there was one coach that was on the staff in the Woodlands at the time, and he saw me. Like he looked at me from afar, right? Then he turned, and then he looked at me again from afar, and then he started walking towards me, right? So I'm like, okay, like this guy, I don't know. So I'm checking it out. He's like, hey, coach, like he pointed to me, right? He's like, hey, I want you to know I have your book. And I was like, oh, coach, man, thank you. That's pretty cool. He's like, no. Like, you don't understand. I got your book right here in my backpack, right? Like, and it was the first Path for Coaches book that we did mentoring. He went on to say, Coach Jacinto was my AD when I was in spring, and man, just really wanted to support him. So I made sure I got the book, and I carry the book in my backpack every day. Right, and read gems, and then he asked me to sign it, and we took a picture and everything. But I wanted to make sure I share that with you, because like so many times we don't even realize the positive impact that we're making, and even like with this project, Like it's going to be so many people that's going to be the same way. So if somebody comes to you guys and point to you, just be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said that. I saw him last week.
Yeah,
He came up with the regional track meet and told me the same thing. He
yeah,
said, "Yeah, coach, I got your book right here in the backpack." And but it's just funny. It's a small world, you know. But like you
yes,
said, you
sir.
never know who you impact and influence, and that just that's just know you're doing the right thing.
Yes,
We're all doing
sir.
the right thing for the right
Yes,
reason.
sir. Yes, sir. All right, Coach Barnes, let them know about your socials and your amazing platform that you have.
Oh, I'm trying, Chip. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you guys. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I mean, you're all pretty young looking to me. All right, so and I'm a Detroit guy. Hey, I'm a Detroit guy. So Adrian, thanks for the Joe Dumars reference, man. I was a big fan of his back in the day. But yeah, you can on X, it's just at Coach Barnes 20, Instagram and Facebook. You can look up Be a Rock LLC. And yeah, I'm really excited about what I have going on and what we're doing and what my message, what my mission and my message is to everybody. And best way to contact me via email is just be a rock 2020 at gmail.com. And you guys are all doing great things. I appreciate listening to you.
Awesome, Coach. Coach Chat.
Yes, sir. All right. So for me, Facebook, Dequan Chatman. Instagram, we got Coach_Chat 24/7. And if you ever in Texas or whatever, you want to shoot me an email, just chop it up. It's coachchatfootball@gmail.com if you want to reach me. And if you're ever in Texas, Rockwall, ISD, we can chop it up.
Coach, real quick, who's the head coach now, Rob?
We got Trey Brooks.
Trey Brooks. Okay.
Yes, sir. Coach Trey Brooks. You got the Heath side too. That
Yeah,
was
I know.
Coach
I know the
Webb.
one that he's.
Yeah, okay. So Rodney Webb. Okay.
Oh yeah, we played when they did some past games against each other.
Okay.
They never beat us. He never beat us when he was there.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey.
Hey, how about the path for coaches for that?
I'm with it.
That's good. I love
Yeah.
it, man.
That's,
All right, Adrian,
that's when
share
you
with
gotta
us.
have great coaches and great players.
Yes,
I know
sir.
that.
All right, Adrian, share with us about your platform so they can go check you
And I
out,
think
bro.
we did good by not getting too competitive on here, You can find me on Facebook at Adrian Jackson, author, speaker, trainer. On Instagram, Paul Jackson Sr. And I welcome all emails at adrianjackson0187 at yahoo.com.
There it is. All right, Myron, what about you, brother?
And I don't know if I want to give anybody my face. No, I'm just playing. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. Working on trying to be more intentional about my Facebook and things like that. So, but you can reach me on Facebook, Myron E. Sims. I just sent you a request, Coach Chatman, and anybody else I'll be reaching out to as well. And then my email address is myroneSims31 at gmail.com. If anybody feels like they need to email me, go right on ahead. But if you want to get in contact with me and see any kind of content in the future, it's definitely my Facebook page. Once again, Myron E. Sims.
There it is. Well, here we are, guys. The Path for Coaches, Volume 4, Communication and Audience. As you can see, some amazing people doing great things. I ask again if you would just go and support them, show them some love for what they have going on. I promise you, you taking the time to check it out will be worth your time. All right. And so just one thing, like, I'll just tell this funny on myself. We've done some collaborative books and man, like I don't just really just put them together. It's learning for me. And so I'll go back and read and highlight and do all of that stuff to learn as well. So I just encourage you to take the time to go check it out. And, it's no excuses. We got ebook. We'll have ebook. We'll have hard copy. I mean, all of that stuff because we want to help coaches and leaders with their path. And so, guys, again, thank you for your time. Thank y'all for saying yes. Audience, thank you for checking out our content and our book to come. And go get it.
Go get it. Yes, sir.
Go get it.